this is Dragon Veils. I hope y'all are doing well. Welcome back to my channel. And today I'm going to do a song analysis for one of the Hazbin Hotel songs, namely Sera's Confession, practically one of the underrated songs of all time. So, be warned, there can be some spoilers, and as I pick it apart, bear in mind that this is just my interpretation alone. You may not always agree with what's being put up, but without further ado, let's begin.
I don't know what to do. Thought I was righteously leading our people, but now I'm faced with the truth. What kind of leader can't tell good from evil? All those poor souls, how many could have been saved? How could I trust in a justice so cruel and depraved?
This song is straight up not only highlighting her character, but also making her realize just how messed up this situation really is. Basically, she has no clue of how to handle this situation. All of her decisions have been leading up to a very dangerous disaster. Now that she knows that redemption is possible and that the extermination could not have been the only option, this is where the whole consequence slaps her face, even when she says, "How could I let a justice so cruel and depraved, and what kind of leader can't tell good from evil?" Those phrases are really important because it does show of her uncertainty, that she can no longer trust her own choices now that everything's been out in the open, and she doesn't really know what to do anymore. She even admits to the fact that the extermination that Adam previously proposed has been nothing but cruel and depraved. And in some ways, there's some truth to it because these sinners are already in hell. They're already facing punishment for whatever they've done in life. So what was the whole point of doing it anyway than just simply putting in a display of power?
One seeks an answer that one cannot grant her. You're looking for light, only you can ignite. Every transgression must serve as a lesson. Yesterday you drew sorrow, what will you do tomorrow?
In layman's terms, that's basically the speaker saying, okay, you need to find this answer on your own. I cannot help you on this one. You need to figure this out. Basically, she wants Sera to actually come to an understanding, look deep within herself, and come to understand that every action has a consequence. But from there, you need to figure out, okay, how do I want to make things better? How do I learn from my mistakes? Which is probably the hardest thing anyone could do, whether in fiction or in real life. And in this case, for Sera, she needs to learn from her mistake of following suggestions that should not be her own. So, overall, there is some decent advice with this.
I feel no wiser than when I commanded the slaughter of those sons and daughters. How can I be sure I don't repeat more massacre based on mistaken conceit? If I stand down and leave us exposed, would that be blind to the threat hell may pose?
So for this one, this is where the lyrics get a little chaotic and a little hard to try to write out. But anyway, most of it is Sera's part of her saying, "I am no wiser than when I commanded the slaughter of those sons of daughters." This is her believing that she's not capable of making smart decisions from now on. She feels like she's just going to keep one mistake after another. She's struggling to feel confident about herself at this point. Her anxiety mounting up, and you could hear it in Patina Miller's voice as she keeps singing these lyrics. And visually speaking, you get to see that there's literal blood on Sera. Not only is this a very interesting symbolism, but it does, again, show her recognition about the blood on her hands, the blood that she spilled, and the vengeance that hell would wreak upon heaven upon this extermination that's been going on, according to Katie Killjoy, for 7 whole years. So she's not very certain if her decisions, whatever she'll choose, will be beneficial for heaven or hell, and that things are just going to get worse from there.
You can't know though time flows on, so you must bear the cross bestowed upon you. Take pity, I pray. Give me a sign. What's your guidance? Please show me the way. You speak of choices made by other voices. You can only atone. Tell me how to atone. Once you speak with your own, if souls from damnation can earn their salvation and find their forgiveness on high, how do I?
So, what the speaker of God says at first, while it didn't seem to make any sense of you can only atone once you speak with your own, at first it seemed like she wanted Sera to actually talk with the angels about the situation, other angels like Abel and St. Peter. But as we soon realized, they weren't very helpful in terms of how to go about the situation at hand, and they always look to her for that guidance, which is something that she needs right now, something she needs to hold on to gratify her decisions. And of course, this is Sera wanting nothing more than to figure out how to atone for her actions. And she believes if sinners can be forgiven, then why can't she? Basically, she can't find forgiveness in herself until she finally opens up to the concept of change. She was slowly progressing towards the end of season 2, especially where you get to see that compared to season 1, how she didn't exactly acknowledge Charlie. She begins to try to listen to some of Charlie's ideas, as well as finally opening herself up to Sir Pentious when she was at her lowest point. This is probably what the speaker of God meant. Speaking with your own doesn't mean someone who's of your own kind. Basically, what Sera needed was someone she can relate to. And it came in the unlikeliest source ever, Sir Pentious himself. Someone who wasn't a winner, but started off as a sinner in hell and wanted nothing more than to make amends for what he did in the past. A very difficult and complicated past, I might add. So, in a lot of ways, this is Sera coming to realize that in order for her to get that redemption, she needs to open up to those in her similar situations, someone that she can understand with. And on top of that, towards the end, this would result in her slowly forgiving herself for the bad choices she makes. As far as we know, there are still some things in season 3 that could be covered for Sera's character, but overall this song does highlight a huge reflection of her character arc, going from this cynic who would barely listen to someone like Charlie into an open-minded individual who is trying to bring heaven and hell together to create a beneficial system that makes all equal in more ways than one. So what do you think about this analysis? Do you feel like there should be more that will be covered? And stay tuned, I'm going to talk about several more songs that might come in terms of Hazbin Hotel. This is Dragon Veils, signing off.